Today I'm going to share with you my curriculum choices for my third grade son, and I just want to let you know that these curriculum choices actually could be third, fourth, or fifth. I'm going to start off with what we chose for math. So math was a struggle for me in making the decision, but I think I finally really nailed down that I'm going to do Mammoth Math 3, and I was debating between finishing Math 3 with Good and Beautiful that we had already started in second grade, or doing Saxon 5-4, which is advertised to third graders. So I was like, well, if they're advertising to third graders, it must be fine. But I, went and looked through it several times and realized that to start Math 5-4, and really excel at it, you want to already know your multiplication facts and your basic division facts, or at least, I don't know. I wanted him to be able to enter it like with at least those things, although you might not have to because you do get to practice multiplication facts in here. But and it does start slow, but very quickly it picks up, and you're doing fourth grade things like long division and square roots, and the level of complexity and the rigor and what they're asking you is more than a third grade curriculum. And Good and Beautiful is actually pretty rigorous. This is right on par too. And this is definitely harder. So this is not a genuine third grade curriculum, even though I'm sure third graders can do it. So I finally was like, okay, it's advertised to them, but it is a fourth grade curriculum, or for struggling fifth graders if we're being true to, what a third grader would really be learning normally. I like that Mammoth Math is straightforward, black and white, just, I think you can get the whole curriculum done in like 2 pages a day. And some people have said you can do every other problem even. It gives you more practice than you might even need. It is a mastery approach, meaning that it covers concept by concept. And so if you want like a spiral review, you can kind of use it. It says that way, like you could, maybe do a little bit from each section, or do more than one section at a time and just do like select problems or a page from this section and a page from that section. Or you can just do it in order, and they have like a cumulative review and test booklet that provides review pages that I think combines these. I did not buy that, but I think it would kind of provide that spiral as well. And so that is math. There is a book, A and B, so 3A and 3B. I'm waiting for the B to come in. So semester 1 is A and semester 2 is B. For writing, I'm going to use a little bit of Structure and Style by IEW, and I'm going to use all of Writing Rhetoric, the first book, which is geared towards 3rd through 4th graders. And I'm just going to do the first one. There's 2 for 3rd through 4th graders. And so this one would help him to learn how to write, starting with a 3-paragraph essay all the way to a 5-paragraph essay. But I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm just going to do like maybe one little essay a month and skip like, holiday months and take it real light. And then this one is going to take a more Charlotte Mason approach, so that maybe after he wrote that one essay that month from IEW, then he would take a break the rest of the month and just use this and maybe do 1 unit a week. So he would read a fable, do some little rhetoric or vocabulary exercises, do a little copy work exercise. I'll do a little tiny dictation exercise where I read something to him and he writes it. And then the last exercise is for him to do a written narration or retelling of the fable. They each have some value, because this one isn't going to teach him how to write an essay. This one is going to do that. So I wanted him to have a little bit of both. And I think it'll be a nice balance. So I made a little schedule for myself, or a little checklist rather, so that I'll know like which months I wanted him to write 1 essay over maybe a 2-week period, and I could check off if he's done that from the IEW. And then each time he finishes one of the 14 units from the Writing Rhetoric, I can check that off. And then, there would still be some weeks left in the year if I do have him writing, 36 weeks out of the year, which we probably won't write all 36 weeks of school. But if we need some more writing opportunities, some genres that aren't covered in Writing Rhetoric or IEW are like writing a letter, a book report, or doing some free writing or a journal entry or personal narrative. They don't have any cursive in there, so I do have like a cursive copy workbook by Brighter Day Press. It actually has a verse for each week of all 36 weeks of school, and it gives you 2 opportunities each week to copy that verse. Will we have time for that? I don't know, but we'll see. I definitely want him to have one little small block of writing 4 days a week, and if we can't get in the cursive copy work, then it probably just won't happen. Maybe we'll use it in the summer. They assign some grammar. Of course, you're kind of doing grammar already if you're editing your writing, but they assign an optional within their lessons. They'll say, oh, do fix it up grammar page, 1 or whatever. And so I like this. It can be used in isolation or along with that IEW curriculum. And I'm gonna use it kind of in isolation because even the weeks that we aren't doing IEW and we're doing rhetoric for writing, I just might make it part of his routine to do this most days. So basically, you are reading a sentence, you are marking it with with editing proofreader's marks. So you're editing the sentence, then it'll tell you what to find as far as parts of speech. So here it says 2 nouns. And so you would mark it with an N above the nouns, and then you rewrite it correctly. And so it continues to get harder and harder. And by the end, you are able to edit a longer sentence. You are able to find articles, nouns, adjectives, coordinating conjunctions, prepositional phrases, who, which clauses, that clause, subject, verb pairs, capitalizing, ending marks, finding homophones. So it's just this gradual building with such a short and small exercise, and I really like that. Something cool I want to point out is that all the sentences you edit from beginning to end are actually a story, and then at the very end you can read all the sentences in the full story. It's pretty cool. I had debated whether to use this or Shirley Grammer's question answer flows. It's similar, but it doesn't have you edit the sentence. It just has you read the sentence. So it starts off real easy with level 1. Cat sat quietly. And then the question answer flow is what's so cool that I like better about this. But I like Fix It Up Grammar because you edit the sentence also. But this is cool because you start memorizing this question answer flow. What sat quietly? You write the answer. What is being said about cats? And you write the answer. How did sat how? You answer it. And then they mark the sentence with the parts of speech. But it is an option. You can get these free without buying Shirley Grammar. Like if you just Google Shirley Grammar question answer flow PDF, you can find level 1. And all the way through, I think all of them maybe, because I went ahead and printed levels 1 through 3. Another part of E.L.A. is vocabulary. And in the past with kindergarten, first and second, I really was just, reading and writing for E.L.A. Vocabulary was very organic through reading, my read-alouds. I might have added in some things like what are homophones and idioms and, very light things. And of course, he was learning to do grammar whenever we wrote our sentences each day. But now that he's in 3rd grade, it's about learning to comprehend even better and have better vocabulary and to spell better and, all those things. So we're putting all that we learned in the early years to use. So I'm going to actually do something for vocabulary is what I'm getting at. And this is called Word Roots, and you might recognize this. The most common cover has the tree on it. I guess either this is the older version or something, but basically they're focusing on prefixes, roots, and suffixes. And I think it's pretty cool because I think it'll really open up their mind to think about how words work and to see how words connect and little words and big words and parts of words. So they'll understand micro means small, tele means distance, and telephone, that makes sense. And so they'll start to just make connections of basically what do you have? Each lesson is 1, 2, 3 to 4 pages, because I think lesson 2 is 4 pages. And so I think I calculated, I kind of made a scope and sequence. I think if he did 1 page a day, he'd probably finish this by the end of the year. If he even did it 1 page a day for less than, I think only 3 days a week. And I'm going to use Spelling Power again. And I think it's just because for me, I'm really just looking for good lists. And I, do have, they do talk about spelling rules. I don't know if they do the best job of giving you spelling rules. So if you like that, it's not really the curriculum for you. But I did print out a separate paper that has kind of those key spelling rules that you might want to know yourself or have your child know. And so, of course, if he's struggling with a word, I know the phonics and I know the spelling, and I can kind of point him in the direction of the why behind it. But for the most part, it's about, for me, having the list. So this has a placement test. So, has levels A through K. So this could last your child's whole school life. And you give a placement test. Depending on how they score, it'll tell you what level to put them at. So for example, I haven't done a placement test for him yet for this year, but I'm going to guess, let's say he places at list C. Then I would flip over here to list or level C. Let's call it level C. And I'm not going to do it the way they do it. Like, I'm literally going to just type up every week as week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on until I've, typed up every list that they provide for that level. And so I think, so it says level C group 1, so I'm going to write week 1. And I'm going to do that for everyone. Even if it says like review test 1, I'm just going to write week 5. Oh, week 6 right there where it said review test 1. And every week we'll just have a new list, whether it's a review list or not. And we're going to have the same routine. Monday, pre-test. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, practice the words you missed on the test, 3 times each, or breaking it apart, or marking the syllables, or marking the vowels, whatever, rainbow words, whatever helps the kid learn it, orally practicing it. And then Thursday, I'll have him just test on the words he missed. And Fridays are co-op, so we only do a 4-day week. And last year, they had about 24 different little word groups. And so, we got done early, and that's fine because by the end of the year, you're ready for a break anyway. Or some weeks we took longer, or took 2 weeks on a spelling list because there weren't 36 spelling, lists. And then I actually pre-type up all the words, and I put them into a folder, and then this is where he does his pre and post tests in a composition notebook. I might just have him, write the name and date, what week, spelling words it was, and number it. So basically, I gathered up books that were on my son's reading level, and my plan is to encourage him to read, at least 1 chapter book a week. Obviously, some might take more than that, and some he likes them enough, he'll read in 1 day. And we have things like the Tuttle twin books. I bought all of those, and we got a lot of Robert Bullock books, which are books like The Sword in the Tree by him also, and The Secret Valley. So he's got 3 by that author, and he's got more books. Some of them are out of print. The Adventures of Mumford are like little history stories told by like this water molecule character, and he liked those. We have the Imagination Station series. He's currently on book 9, so we might continue that if he wants to. Another option, Mouse and the Motorcycle books. The Story of Dr. Doolittle's a good one for kids on a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. Farmer Boy Days. I'm not going to have him do like the Little House series, but this one with the boy, I thought it'd be fun to do that. And eventually with my girls, I'll do Little House, and he'll probably chime in. The 100-Penny Box. The Oak Tree Club. Flat Stanley, we'll see if he wants to do that. He already read this one. Some of these, like this one, I read to him already. So that's what I like when I've read the books to him when he was younger, and then now he gets to read them. And this is also Robert Bullock, actually. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Another Mumford book. There's like 4 total of Mumford books, and they're I think they're out of print, so you can find them on eBay and sometimes Amazon. I don't know if he'll read this one, but maybe. And then I have a double print of Dr. Dolittle. Maybe his cousin will chime in. He's also in the same grade. And then Stuart Little, Charlotte's Web, Pilgrim's Progress. I've already read to him, but this one is the Abeka version. I don't know if he'll want to read the Abeka version, but I also have this smaller version, and then the version I read to him is pretty thick, so he probably won't want to read it, but maybe one of those 2 will be less intimidating. He loved the story when I read it to him and the movie, so he might want to read it again. The Whipping Boy, I might wait till next year, but because I have a study that goes along with it, but that's a good one. And I love it when they have the Newbery medals or Caldecott awards or other things that make hey, this is a quality book with quality vocabulary and things. Double copy again, so I'm like, maybe his buddy will read it too. And then I have these answers in Genesis, for kids. We'll see if he wants to read those, get some apologetics in. And then some picture books. You know, I've lots of picture books more than these, but these are ones I'd like him to definitely read. The Making of a Knight. It's definitely good for boys, Christian kind of character and manliness. Right, let's see. Fables. It's a good one. And My Heart Christ's Home for Children. The adult one's really good. It's online for free as the PDF if you Google it, and you should read it if you haven't. It's so good. My first book of biographies, and Angry books are pretty cool, but I don't know, I've heard mixed reviews on them, but this one looks good. The Amazing Impossible Erie Canal. Okay. Anyways, that's some reading, and then I always have a folder for him with a reading log so we can track what he read, and then a multisyllabic word reading packet so we can just practice reading harder words and chunking and things like that. I don't know if he'll really need that next year, but here and there I like to do that as a check-in to practice bigger words. And then here's some books that either The Good and the Beautiful or Veritas Press recommended for literature for 2nd, 3rd, or 4th graders. Sounder, Tale of Ancient Egypt. And these are ones that if I have time, I could read to him this year, or eventually, if I don't have time, like this one I could even have him listen to. This is on YouTube for free. You know, I could read what I can have time for, and if not, these will become things he can read when he's older. You know, sometimes our kids can read harder things, but like, look how thick this is, and like how many words per page. It's more about whether they have the stamina to read it. Okay, for science, I am still figuring out. I usually do one branch of science per month. Like maybe 1 month would be like, you know, life science, or 1 month would be like earth and space science, you know, or earth 1 month and space another. You know, then it could be physics another month or two, like matter, and then maybe force and motion another month, anatomy another month. And so, you know, in those early years, I usually like do it in small chunks like that, instead of focusing on one science topic for a long time. And so I might just use these books to do that. But I haven't exactly decided. Like, I don't know if I'll really use these. These are basically, they come with CDs, and they have really cool, like, songs that help you memorize, like, science concepts. It's definitely pretty advanced, the workbooks. So I don't know. I'm sure he could do it, but I'm like, with all that you just saw that I'm already doing with them, I'm like, I'm not probably doing the workbooks, but maybe I'll use some of the songs. These are recommended by Veritas Press as well. Another one I stumbled upon on the scholarship shop, our homeschool scholarship, that later again, I'm like, oh, that's recommended by Veritas Press. Cool. Burgess Animal Book. We did the bird book last year. I thought this would be a good way to do some zoology or, you know, life science. This is a cool book, and it has all kinds of concepts related to physics, you know, matter and energy, electricity, things like that. And it has experiments too, and tells you like what supplies. So you just read like a little section at a time, maybe once or twice a week, and then do the experiments. And I think it's cool. It's like covers a lot of science except, you know, anatomy, you know, life science type stuff, anatomy and animals. It doesn't cover those things. And so for anatomy, this is kind of a cool book that I just happen to have. I'm sure there's a million choices out there, but I just try to use what I have if I can. And so I am going to be doing memory work too. Like, for example, I have a chart with all the human body systems. So like he's, you know, going to review and continue to, you know, he already kind of knows, but what are the basic body systems, you know, and point as we say them. We're going to also focus on what are Newton's laws this year. This doesn't really go into depth on all the laws. Actually, this book talks more about them, and I made a chart in his memory work folder along with the human body chart, a chart that shows Newton's laws and explains them. This is another cool book he could read, but he didn't like the nature readers that much. Like I tried to have him read the first one and the second one, and it was like a chore for him, sadly, because I was so excited to buy these. This book, I don't know if we'll use it, but this is more, this covers force and motion, but this goes into it more in like in depth, like STEM. Sorry, I can't open this obviously, you know, and simple machines and stuff like that. So I actually might use this next year. This year, with focusing more on anatomy and Newton's laws. I might do simple machines more next year in 4th grade. And then I might do a little unit on dinosaurs, intelligent design, and, you know, the apologetic side of that, which he has a little bit of knowledge from this because we listened to Jonathan Park, which is a audio drama about a boy whose dad is a creationist scientist. And it gives some really in-depth apologetics through a dramatized, amazing, entertaining story. So this is a fun little book to review ecosystems too. But anyway, it seems like a hot mess, but we'll probably focus on one topic a month. We'll probably focus on this for a few months and do one section a month and do some experiments. And then in our homeschool group, we do science experiments also. All right, I did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to go in depth, but so look for that video. But this is what we're doing for history, pages in history. It does come with, you know, other, you know, supplement options. I've heard it has maybe activities or things like that. It definitely has like history, like flashcards, like where you can, you know, use them to put them in order for the events or to review events. And there's also like a timeline song similar to like Story of the World or Classical Conversations that you can, you know, use to learn history in order. But for me, I just love that it's in a story form with characters going back in time. And again, I did a video on this, so I'm not going to go in depth. But my goal is just to read one chapter a week because there's 36 chapters between both of them and about 36 weeks of school. And I'm probably not going to buy the cards. I actually might have them each have a little like index card box of blank index cards. And like each time we are reading a chapter, if there's 1 or 2 events in that chapter, I could have them write the name of the event and on one side of the index card, on the other side, draw a picture to illustrate that while they're listening to the chapter. And then they are more likely to remember it because now they've been the one connecting and drawing and making these little history of, you know, timeline cards or event cards that we can keep in a box. And through my homeschool group, we might be doing Teach Art for Children. And whatever drawings he makes from this would go in his art folder. Here's the table of contents. And here's like an example of one of the lessons. Right, well, that is 3rd grade this year. Let me know what you think, and hopefully it will be awesome, and I will be able to update you how that goes.